News today about some snowflakes. Well, one in particular, there's a writer at The Atlantic, which 20 years ago when I was a subscriber was a pretty good magazine. Now it's just a liberal rag. And she is saying, don't let your children watch Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because it's violent, people are mean, and it's frightening, and it's anti-gay. Didn't know all of those things, but she claims that's the case, and she says it frightened her as a kid. She's never watched it since. These snowflakes, and over the years I've worked with a few, oddly enough, most of them were not from flyover country. They were raised in parts of the country where you would expect there to be snowflakes. And they definitely are people who things don't roll off their backs very easily. Let me put it that way. But they're also very easily manipulated. David Mamet, who was a playwright and a producer, had a piece in the Wall Street Journal the other day where he pointed this out. He said, the reason that climate change so frightens people is because the young especially, they've been raised on a diet that everything's going to be falling apart and coming to an end. And he said, media knows this, and media and the elites have used this. They've used it to gin up the fear. In the end, somebody somewhere profits. It's interesting. I was watching a video Friday, I guess it was, and it was from the Hoover Institution at Stanford University. And among the historians who were speaking were Victor Davis Hanson and Neil Ferguson. And I've got books by both. They're both great, great writers. Ferguson was explaining, he said, after COVID, Joe Biden and his team of retreads, the old Washington Guard that they brought back for one last hurrah, they will try to get their Davos friends on board with a notion that if COVID was bad, well, global warming is going to be a lot worse, and therefore we're going to have to crack down and use that as our focus. And he says they're going to miss some other important threats, such as China. According to Ferguson, the U.S. military is very, very concerned that it is over-reliant on the internet. So someone who came along and pulled the plug on the net or simply threw a monkey wrench into it could severely harm us. And he says this may be what happens when the Chinese decide to invade Taiwan. And we've given the impression over, he says, the years that we're not going to do much to protect it. They'll do that. And he said if we object, they could simply bring down the net, and with that, a lot of our weapon systems too. And it was Victor Davis Hanson who was pointing out as well, when he was talking about all of this, that the threat from China extends to something else. And that is that even if the Chinese didn't intend the Wuhan virus to be a bioweapon, it turned out that way. And it was far worse in handcuffing our economy than it was the Chinese economy, simply because people there who were infected were bricked up in their homes and left to die. They can get away with that in a country where they don't have a constitution, albeit ours is stretched pretty thin by some of these governors around the country. So you've got that situation going on. That'll be ignored as well as they pursue all of this climate change business. There was a survey conducted by an English newspaper, and they discovered an overwhelming number of young people plan to have no children because they say they will not bring their children up in an apocalyptic realm, which is what's going to happen with climate change. That's what these young people believe. This is how they've been raised. This is what's been taught to them at schools, through media, and through their favorite entertainers. Is there a silver lining here? Well, it means that the snowflakes and liberals won't be having children, and yet conservatives and traditionalists will go on having large families. And in a couple of generations, you'll have a lot fewer liberals around the world. Got to run. If you like our videos, or if you like them, I put that in a past tense, or maybe it was a future tense. But if you like our videos, click on the subscribe button. You can also comment in the comments section below sometimes. Some people are telling me they're having problems with that. Don't know why. You can also hear my radio program. My name is Bill Colley, and I host a program Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. That's Mountain Time at News Radio 1310 KLIX. You can find us online. Click on the Listen Live icon. We even have an app you can get on your phone. It's free, and you could listen that way too.